Alrighty, welcome to another Dark Souls guide. Today we'll be covering Darkeater Midir. Midir is possibly the hardest boss in this game, but not right now because he looks like he's all sleepy and tired from his fall. Anyway, we have some more important mechanics to cover. So I'm going to cover a few things that will hopefully make this fight a little bit more easier for you guys, and before we get into the fight itself, I'm going to talk about a few mechanics that matter. First off, the most important thing is camera controls. He takes up the entire fucking screen. Who are we kidding? And because of this, he has a lot of very strange attacks that seem a little bit erratic and a little bit hard to keep track of. It's not all that bad though. A lot of it is just watching and memorizing what he does. And the importance in that, not only so that you can counter properly, is you need to follow where his head will end up at the end of each attack animation. The rest of his body practically has super armor, so it's much easier to land strikes on his head if you figure out where his head is going to rest at the end of an animation. Sometimes he will sit there and linger for a couple seconds, sometimes he will charge attack across the room, and he'll lay flat for a couple seconds and rest, kind of like he is now. But every other part of his body takes way less damage than his head, so we're going to focus on how best to tackle that. Another thing about this fight, it's a little misleading. There are a few times where he is charging across the room, or he's doing big swiping attacks. The only parts of his body that will actually damage you during these moments are parts that are actively attacking. So if he's like clawing his way across the room, only his front claws will actually be able to hurt you. His back legs, his tail, unless they're actively being used in attack, don't have a hurt box, so you won't take damage from them, and I think that's an important thing to note. There's also one or two misleading moves that I'm going to teach you how to exploit. Alright, so as our last couple videos, give or take, I'm using my Cell Sword Twin Blades that are sharp and plus 10, which are great. They take a lot of advantage of dexterity. We're going to be using the Gold Pine Resin because lightning hurts like a motherfucker. Alright, we're going to run in. He's going to start out with this animation. And then at the end of his roar, we want to start attacking. You usually get about 4 hits in here. He's going to start out with his Flame Breath. He almost always starts out with this move. See, his back legs here cannot actually hurt you. So you want to run and catch up to him so you can hit his head again. You might get 2 swipes in here or so, and then he's going to start trying to smash you with his big claws. Honestly, most of the time you can dodge these if you roll towards his body. Alright, this is the first misleading attack I want to talk about. The flames dissipate much more quickly than they seem like they should. They can still hit you pretty hard, but they are not as bad as they look, and the hitbox disappears much quicker than it should. This attack sucks. Try to iframe it through as best as possible. If you die, that's the end of the fight, and that kind of sucks. Luckily I didn't. I'm a pretty tanky motherfucker, but that attack is hard to iframe. Here's another Fire Breath, and another Fire Breath, and he'll be a little tuckered out. We can get a few more attacks. Ooh. I'm gonna roll away here because the flames can catch up to you, but once they've hit that maximum range... Alright, we've hit a second phase. You can get a couple attacks before you have to roll away, but do be careful because otherwise you will get one shot. Alright, he's gonna lunge at us. We want to roll into him to miss the bite and punish. Alright, he really likes doing that attack today, which is good because that's his most punishable attack. And we've hit him hard enough to get the riposte. And he's dead. Honestly, I've done this fight about 5 or 6 times making this video. And the first 2 fights were a lot messier than that. I'm a little out of practice. I'm not going to be covering Gale in this video. We'll get to that in a moment. That's a different fight entirely, but it's a little more fun. He's a lot more fun to trade with. There are a few other attacks I want to cover that he didn't necessarily do. There is one attack where he will kind of arch up, shoot fire at the ground beneath him, and then the fire will turn into this like laser beam of light. If that hits you, 99% of the time it will kill you. He will always arc down from where he's starting straight up at you, so you can kind of roll out of the way, and then you want to wait a few seconds and then roll in towards him because he will do another sweeping beam attack. If either of these beams hit you, they will one-shot you, almost guaranteed. This move is a little more rare. I did see it in one of my test runs just now, and I kind of wanted to die to it because I already got hit by his transformation, and I just wanted to end the fight and do a new recording. I think there's a couple other attacks that kind of matter. It really just varies on the way that he sweeps his claws, but it's not quite so bad if you roll towards his body, like under his chin, towards his chest. He's a lot more manageable, honestly. And there's a few other attacks where he will just take his time kind of sweeping all the way across, like just clawing at the ground, swiping his body, having a big tantrum, all the way across the battlefield, and then he'll turn around. I think that came up during this fight. That's another one where you kind of just chase after him, wait until he turns around, he'll lower his head, and you can go back to punishing. If there's any other attacks that I missed, I haven't done this fight in a little while, we can probably talk about them in the comments, and I'll see if I remember the best ways to counter them. Thanks for watching.